23. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Councilwoman Campbell. Councilman Leon.
To continue to bless the city that we call Miami Gardens, its residents, leadership, stakeholders, everyone that has something to do with the city.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Show noted.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I need to add a special presentation.
Councilman Leon, the 6.3. Pass. All right, we're on special presentations. Mr. Manager.
Besides, that you do your presentation now, and I can come back up.
Sure.
Okay?
All right. Switch places. It's an opportunity to learn about some of the very impactful and extraordinary people that have done amazing things in their lifetime. Our first place winner, Daniela Ozigan, 5th grader from Barbara Hawkins Elementary School.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about him. Pierre Toussaint is his name, a slave born in Haiti who was brought to New York on his own after purchasing her freedom. When Mr. Toussaint moved to New York in 1787, he learned the trade of a hairdresser. They built some goods so they could raise money to live on. Mr. Toussaint also helped to build a new Catholic church in New York, which became both.
At this time, I would like to call up our 2nd place winner, Reginald Andre Jr., who's an 11th grader at Calvary.
Georges Anglais was a Haitian Canadian political activist, author, geographer, who had an impact on the Haitian community abroad. He used his literary work to shed light on issues affecting Haitian people. Anglais' most significant contribution to Haitians was his research on the geography of Haiti and the Caribbean. From this, he helped improve the understanding of the social and economic surviving, helping shape public policy. Anglais was also a writer who wrote on Haitian culture. His writings tell the history of Haiti we remember and how it was. He influenced a wave of Haitian writers who have followed in his footsteps. Unfortunately, in 2010, Anglais died in an earthquake that hit Haiti, but his legacy continued by the George Anglais Institute and continues to promote research on geography of the Caribbean and advance the cause of social justice and human rights. Anglais has inspired me by showing how much he cares about the community by risking his freedom to protest. I also like how what he left behind is still going to this day. Many times people's work died with them. In conclusion, I think Anglais' impact in the Haitian community is important because he left writings on history that we can still learn from today.
Thank you very much, Reginald Andre. And Reginald was our 2nd place winner with a $300 scholarship. Congratulations, Reginald. We're proud of you. And then our 3rd place winner is Clint John, a 7th grader at Northern Middle School, whom you all know as my summer intern. Come on up, Clint.
Good evening to everyone. I would like to write about my friend's mom, Lorna Joseph Esquire. She's a wonderful person, inspiring me and the hearts of many others. She's the lead discovery attorney for the insurance litigation group. She has 2 children and a husband to take care of. And trust me, she takes care of them with love and care, never forsaking them. She's a fearfully and wonderfully made woman working towards all she must get in life and more. She is bilingual, speaking English and Haitian Creole. The first time I encountered Mrs. Joseph was when I met her at her daughter's birthday party. She was very nice and caring. She inspired me with her success. She told me about her many experiences and the hard work that it takes to graduate law school, become a lawyer, and succeed as a black entrepreneur. At that point, I found out that not only was she a lawyer, but she ran her own cooking business. May I stress that she did this all while taking care of her husband and 2 children. I wondered how she had so much energy, how she had time for her children, and how she got to where she is right now. She inspires me, and what else she aspires to do. Through connecting with her more, I learned that she has helped various property owners to get what they deserve in various cases. She has led community service projects to help the needy and more. Recently, she has made more time to assist her children in school, and the progress has been made. Her daughter overcame a test in math, and her son got admitted into the school gifted program. How do you plan to make change in the world today? How do you plan to impact your community?
Thank you, Clint. And Clint is a 7th grader at New Orleans Middle School. Thank you to all the parents who encouraged her students to participate. And at this time, I'm going to call you up. Mayor and Council, please come on down. Let's get a group photo with our students.
presentation. I would like to welcome, this is state representative, former state representative that we met, myself and Councilwoman Campbell, along with Renita, we went to Tallahassee on behalf of the city, championing some projects that we're working on. And he was very instrumental in helping our state representatives that, even though this is in his area, he supports Miami-Dade County as a whole. And he was very instrumental in the leadership in helping our state representative, Felicia Robinson, with these bills in regards to the water issues that we have. He's now newly appointed to Miami-Dade County Clerk of the Courts, and he has some thoughts and ideas that he'd like to share with Miami Gardens on some of the partnerships he would like to do. So I want to introduce you to Juan Fernandez-Barkin, our new Miami-Dade County Clerk.
It's an honor to be here, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and councilmen and women. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and it's a pleasure to speak here and present in front of the wonderful residents of Miami Gardens. Just so you know, this is the first municipality that I come to speak to. I'm not going to mention any of the other municipalities. I don't want anybody else to get jealous. But it's an absolute honor. For those of you who don't know, I mean, when you hear the clerk of the courts, you immediately think of the civil court records, criminal court records, but there's so many other functions that the clerk of the court has. Marriage licenses, jury, essentially maintaining the public records, the official records of the county. So many things that in total there's over 1,100 employees that pertain to the clerk of the court also. One of the big things, and this is something that I would look to partner with you all on, and one of my priorities is in regards to driver's licenses and helping individuals make it easier for them to pay traffic tickets. For those of you who don't know, well, there was recently a driver's license task force, and in the report it stated that there's over 600,000 residents in Miami-Dade County who have suspended driver's license. Having been a public defender in Palm Beach County, I personally did handle several suspended driver's license cases then I understand the ins and outs and the difficulties of many individuals when it comes to paying these traffic tickets. So one of my priorities is to make it easier for them and to perhaps, and I would love to partner with you all in perhaps having a clerk station here to help make it easier to facilitate individuals who pay traffic tickets. For us to also do things over the weekend. There's a lot of individuals that were last week was in regards to property fraud. For those of you who don't know, last year there was over 200,000 cases for email and their folio number. And we show how they can find the folio number. So if there's a change in the property owner on the website, you're probably not going to speak to a human being. And that is something that we feel somewhere around 5 my door is always open. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you.
It's hard to follow kids that know what they're doing. Secondly, I'd like to welcome the clerk to say hello to me. And I had a chance. Capital improvement, Keisha Smith, planning and zoning, Swan Vaughn, capital improvement, Claudia Salvador. Clerk, if you don't mind, please have deputy clerk not buzz me after 5 minutes. I will try to keep it within 5. Two of the most important things I believe that will be happening in the city moving forward. One is the 35-acre development that I'll. So my first intention tonight is to give you an update on the development site of the 35, the map. Those are two main residential units that will be developing on that site. The amenities of pools, community house, community centers, and things of that nature will be also a part of that first phase. The second phase is the development closer to the 27th Avenue, which will be an entertainment center, an indoor entertainment center. It's approximately 75,000 square feet, and that will. The other things that we are waiting for are some of the final site planning issues that we've addressed with them over the last several months for parcel 6 and parcel 7. Parcel 6 and 7 is an additional hotel development site on it.
Stated the different parcel numbers. Said phase 1.
Parcel 3, parcel 1, and parcel 5.
So my request, I just have a request. Can you kind of lay that out in it's not here in this presentation we have. Can you lay that out and say phase 1, parcel 2, 3, 4.
Sure.
Phase 2, and kind of give us a timeline. Can we do that? And if we can't do a timeline, can you say like phase 1, what's the parcel of this map? Those we targeted doing phase 1. And in phase 2, these
I can provide that for you.
Okay, that's all I have.
That's not a problem.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Manager, I actually have, for the 35 acres, you mentioned the first phase is residential.
That's right.
Is there a way that, and I guess this is the conversation, why is it that phase 1 is residential?
Phase 1 is residential parcel. Phase 1 is residential parcel 3. The other part of phase 1 is parcel 1, which is the commercial restaurant and commercial restaurant and hospitality areas and retail. And then as part of phase 1 is parcel 5, which is the entertainment district. So, and I know exactly. One of the things we said that we were not going to allow them to move forward with just residential without other company uses coming forward with that. So phase 1 accompanies the residential, some of the commercial retail, and also the entertainment part of the development.
Okay.
So when that comes forward to you, you'll see that all that laid out to you moving forward as phase 1. And then phase 2 will be the second hotel, an additional museum area for Formula 1, and then some other retail.
So for clarity purposes, phase 1 will consist of both residential and the retail.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And the reason for that, Mr. Mayor, yes, the reason for that, Councilman, is that the overlay district only allows for mixed use when it comes to residential and commercial, so we have to do a mixed use. It has to be true mixed use.
Do you have a clear timeline on it?
I would say probably we met with them 2 weeks ago, we went over some things. I would say probably sometime between October and November, we should have a item before you regarding the variances that they need.
Okay, thank you.
Question, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Manager, so during phase 1, do we have any control or any say in how the project begins in terms of development? So, for instance, as opposed to building, we have the residential and the restaurants are all part of phase 1. But is there a way that we can break ground and start to construct the restaurants first? Because when we think about it, right, food and beverage is what brings people together, right? Hey, let's go have a drink, let's go out to dinner, right? So attracting people to something that we have here, restaurants, right, functioning, and then the continuation of going vertical with the apartment complex.
I'll have a conversation with them about
Please
that.
do.
The only reason why I'm hesitant to make that commitment is because the bulk of what they'll be doing in phase 1 will be residential. But the goal is, and Keisha and I have been meeting and talking about this, the goal is to see if we can move things and start things all at the same time.
Sure.
So that would be the goal.
Sure, so we know that development is fluid, right? And so definitely not a commitment, but worth having a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor? I think we need a motion to. You're not finished? You said you weren't going to be long.
I did. I want to talk about the performing arts portion of this, and then after that, Mayor, I appreciate you. This is just a rendering of what we hope some of this will bring to the city of Miami Gardens and what that will look like. So it gives an overall rendering. Along 27th Avenue, you have the hotel. Obviously, you have the retail portion that's in the front of, on the frontage of 27th Avenue. In the back, you see the residential components, and then you see the other hotel and other developments that we just talked about. Now I want to talk about what I believe is probably one of the catalysts for the city of Miami. I believe this project and this district that I'm calling will take the economic development, the housing, the services, the programming, all of those things that this council pushes into our community in a very positive way. So we look at and we try to identify things that make us unique. We try to find things and do things that bring a different type of attention to us. So we're the city of Miami Gardens, where the Hard Rock Stadium is in the city of Miami Gardens. We're the city of Miami Gardens where we have Topgolf, we have other restaurants and things of that nature. So what is it that we can do as a city to bring a different element and improve all the other elements that we have in the city right now? And I believe what I'm calling the PACE district can get us there and move us in that direction. And there's a lot of moving components in this district. There are a lot of moving pieces that I believe are very positive and moving the city forward. So I just want to walk you through some of the things and some of the concepts that we've been talking about and some of the things that we put together to give you an idea of what we believe, what can happen on the 3.6 acres behind us in the future. So the performing arts, civic, and entertainment district is what I recommend to move forward. The boundaries obviously would include City Hall property. It would also include the county properties that are just north of us, and then some vacant properties that are owned by the private sector. Certainly, they will fall within the parameters of what we can do from the mixed-use development and or hospitality development, and any other positive issues that we possibly can develop at this time. And then obviously, just behind City Hall is the Performing Arts Center area that I'll walk you through today.
So not camera?
So let me start off with the Performing Arts Center. What we're recommending is that we look at something along the lines of about a 50,000 square foot facility, a three-story building with up to capacity of about 1,200, ground floor about 25,000 square feet for other activities, an open plan for flexible seating, a layout with a banquet and/or theater-style seating, office space that she could have been a part of, but luckily she's doing well. But these are the types of things and these are the type of opportunities that we can provide for kids in the future in the city, from the city of Miami Gardens. A youth center that we believe can complement some of the, right now we have proposed a STEM facility at Risco. And unfortunately, we just we're dragging along here. As a part of the general obligation bond, we had money set aside for the Culinary Arts Institute, just next to these facilities, and also include in that facility space for the education, build some of that space here on site where there's an alternative for folks to go for educational purposes. Now, this is just another view of the proposed performing arts area in the proposed district. And then the final space regarding the third floor itself. Board's leadership, I think this combines everything that we need to do in moving forward as a city, that we need, certainly will not only continue to keep us on the map, but improve us as a city overall.
Getting ready to take this city to the next level.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I have,
See, this is what happens when I do okay with the presentation and I get to this part.
I know that I'm looking at that correctly.
You're looking at that.
The blank spot.
Right here?
Yeah.
You have the gas facility.
Yeah.
And then you have private property. This is privately owned property. And some discussion with them about development. And I think this is still, I'm not sure about this parcel here. I think it's private, but I have to double check on that.
Okay.
So all of that here is a mixture of private property and county-owned land. County-owned building, excuse me.
Got you. So the plan is to include that property with the Performance Arts Center, which is current property that's owned by the city of Miami Gardens.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to get at is, if there's a possibility of renaming this the Miami Gardens Pace District, there are civic activities that we could engage with the county in the future.
Sure.
Obviously, there's additional lands here that we could possibly develop in the future. So I'm just trying to keep this tight enough where we have some influence and some things that we can do and bring to the table as far as maybe future projects, future programming with the county and things of that nature. Now remember, overall, they're already part of the overlay district.
Right.
This is just really making it something special and calling it the Pace District, because all the things that we're going to bring forward, hopefully through this project, may be something we can do in partnership with the county as well.
So that land
Yes.
and all that north of our police department, that is just essentially, the reason why it's included right now
Right.
is for zoning purposes, if we were to zone this as the Pace District.
That's correct.
It won't stop the progression of building the Performance Arts Center while trying to recruit the county or anyone to fall on board. That's correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So leading to that with that answer, the timeline to building the Performance Arts Center is when?
My goal is to not only, there's a couple things I need to do. And unfortunately, with the break, I won't be able to do it in August. So probably September, my goal is to bring an amendment to the zoning that will create the Miami Gardens Pace District with all the components that we want in there. Get that approved, and then work with staff doing this over the summer, work with staff to begin to put in place the things we need to do if it's an RFP, or work with other architectural firms and things of that nature to bring something back concrete so that I can bring to the council to get that approved and then move forward with the project. And I just want to be clear, the portions that I'm talking about moving with will be the public portion. We still have the the portion that would house the hotel in the private sector of this development, I'll begin some negotiations and try to figure out how to move forward with that, but I really want to move forward with the public funding portion of the development.
Okay.
So that would be the Performing Arts Center, that would be the culinary facility, that would be the Black Box, that would be the youth center, and potentially the Risco project.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just want to make, now remember, we have an architectural firm that's on board right now for the Risco project. So we may have to, and I have to work with the city attorney on that, but we may have to move, if we move them, we may have to go back out for an RFP or something of that nature to do that project going forward. But that's something I work with the city attorney.
So currently, we don't have a firm for the performance arts.
I don't have a firm as of today.
Okay.
But hopefully, after this conversation, you know, mayor and council want to make a motion to give me the authority to move forward. I'm ready to move forward and identify and go through that process.
Okay. Okay. I think the project is a great one. I think you and your team has outlined what's essential to this community now, from the higher education initiatives to the youth services to economic development, all that great stuff. But I want to make sure that, and this is that we put a solid timeline in place and get the ball moving. I want to make sure that these projects don't take a long time to actually execute and be completed. So that's why I'm concerned about the timeline and how we're going to move. I ideally would like to see a schedule that by the end of July, we'll bring this zoning district to you. September, we're looking to bring out a bid. November, X, Y, and Z. I want an outline. And if it's the will of the council, I would ask if we can receive an outline and a step-by-step as it relates to this project being executed so that we can make sure that we're getting it done. We're getting it done, essentially.
Sure. Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
One of the things I can do, Councilman, is when I come back to do the rezoning, I can provide all of that information in the rezoning, just as information purposes, so you'll see that once the rezoning has been completed, that outline goes forward.
Okay. So the outline of
Step by step.
With time.
Rezoning's over with, now this is what we're going to be doing to go forward.
Okay.
I don't have a problem doing it.
Okay. And you're bringing that to us in July?
No, I won't be able to. Our next meeting is in 2 weeks. I don't.
No, I thought that's what he said.
No.
He said after the recess.
He said
After the recess.
After recess, I'll bring something back, hopefully sometime in September.
Okay. So this project, realistically, we're not looking to next year sometime.
You're probably, well, there's a lot of moving pieces I got to get put in place, obviously. So you're looking at probably sometime next year.
Okay. Wait.
I can't move any faster than that because of the timing.
Yeah, I guess the reason why, I guess I'm a little confused because I thought things were already being done. Aside from the rendering and all of, I thought we were already moving down the line. So that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, no, I couldn't move until I got authority from council. So I wanted to put together the overall conceptual plans so that you can see where I'm going, what we're doing. And then once I get your approval and your blessings, then I can move forward with everything.
Okay, well, since we're still...
And keep in mind, it's our project, so we'll be able to do the things that we need to do to move forward with it.
Okay. So...
Let me.
You finished?
No.
Now go ahead.
No, I'd just like to piggyback off what he said.
Okay, hold on.
Get clarity.
Oh, go ahead before I ask this next question.
Maybe a schedule is needed, but a quarterly report is also needed. So at least 4 times in the calendar year, we'll get a natural kick-in update. Because you can have a schedule, but if it gets out the way, but we need to, it just needs to be every quarter or so. Every quarter, 4 times a year, until the project is completed, we ought to be getting an update.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think just so that you know what's happening. Because like I said, I thought that we were far greater than where we are now. While we in the beginning stages here, and I know, for an example, the programming we mentioned here outlined, a lot of these great things are already being led, and a lot of these things are happening as far as the city-university partnership and creating space where local universities can come and offer classes to our residents. I want to make sure that I want to suggest that we go ahead but implement these programs so that we're
going forward with that, especially once we build, we have those office spaces over there, so I don't have a problem with that. I'll bring that forward.
I'm thinking a director of educational services, a chief education officer, or someone that has education.
Honestly, I haven't really broken this out in phases. I wanted to show you conceptually where we are and what we can do. I'm not a big person when it comes to phasing development. I'm that person. Let's jump in, let's get it regarding that.
Okay, that's fair, because if we're mentioning that parcel one is, well, we talked about phase 2. We know which phase it's included in, at least that'll give us some kind of an idea of when this thing is going to be built. No rush on it, because we want something to be built safe.
Absolutely. Breaking the end of the year or the beginning of next year. So if they are going to move along that track, certainly we can probably follow along.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes. I don't have a question at all of the services that you propose to us this evening and see what areas.
I need a motion to allow the manager to proceed with the PACE district as well as with the towns.
The 35 acres is on its own.
Right.
The performing arts portion that I just presented, is that the direction I'm getting from council? I can move forward with everything?
5 acres with the STEM and all of that.
The educational component is a part of the Miami Gardens PACE district.
End up at this location.
So you're saying that those dollars end up, they're going to start now, and it ends up being over here? Is that?
So it has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Showing none. Mr. Manager, go forth and prosper.
I thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, I have another presentation, but on this presentation, oh, somebody want me to Wow.
We got your back, Mr. Manager.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Manager.
No problem, no problem. It caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I have another, I'm going to introduce a presentation to you. I'm going to have the chief of police come up and also my sergeant, Genty, come up and introduce a group of young people that are in our city, working hard, being trained, being identified as future leaders in our city. I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to speak to these young people about what it meant to be a person moving forward and doing something positive in your neighborhoods and in your cities. And I'm going to turn it over to the chief and to Sergeant Genty to do the presentation. However, before I do that, and excuse the person in the back, before I do that, I do want to recognize Sergeant Genty. So it came to my attention that there was a young lady walking down the street, and she appeared to be in a different state of mind. And so our Sergeant Genty decided to get her attention, pull her over, and have a conversation with her. And unfortunately, when he talked to her initially, she was afraid of him. She didn't want to engage with him. She didn't want to do anything with him but run. And he finally got her attention and was able to help her get to where she needed to be. And unfortunately, she was part of sex trafficking. And so when they were able to bring her back and question her, they were able to identify the area where the activities were happening. And if it wasn't for our Sergeant Genty, that would have never happened. And that young lady and other young ladies, and the father of 3 daughters, could have been in really bad shape. He was recognized by our state attorney a couple of weeks ago, I believe. I didn't get the invitation. but that's okay. But I do want to take this opportunity and recognize him because he is the lead person. He and Sergeant Levine and the chief, they're the lead person in developing these young people to ensure that maybe they will save somebody's life in the future, just like Sergeant Genty did. So with that, I'll sit down and I'll turn it over to the chief. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Chief Delma Noel Pratt, City of Miami Gardens Police Department. A couple of weeks ago, we had a 2-week Police Explorer Academy. It was hosted by our police department, but encompassed some Hialeah PD Police Explorers and also Hallandale PD Police Explorers. And we just want to give you a little snippet of things that they did and how we are basically engaging with our youth, and we're empowering them because these are our future leaders, just like the city manager has said. Thank you.
I'm going to allow the audience to clap for these young people.
Good evening, everyone. Sergeant Genty, Community Action Team. Here you guys have here is our police explorers. We have the opportunity to mentor them throughout the summer while they're out of school. Over the last several weeks, these young men and women, they've been tested mentally, they've been tested physically, and emotionally. They were kind of put through this program to kind of mirror some of the things that we do out there on the street, and I can tell you that these fine men and women are the future leaders of our community. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a video of kind of what they endured over the last couple weeks. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Dana Levine if he wants to say anything, because we were both instrumental in getting this done.
Just like Sergeant Genty said, these are our future leaders. So we try to mold them to get them ready. You see what they go through. It's not easy, and they show that they can meet the test of time. So just watch the video and y'all enjoy.
Says, no, you have not. You have not begun to see the things that's about to happen to you.
Y'all just eating donuts and pastries, cookies and chips.
This is what we're talking about. This wasn't just a traditional academy. What this academy taught these kids was mental toughness. The pulse and the heartbeat of this. They were given various assignments, and they executed those assignments flawlessly.
Council, could we come down and get a picture?
Mr. Clark? Never mind, I'll take care of it when I get on the document. All right, come on, everybody, and you guys right here, just come on around this way. Okay? Perfect, perfect. There we go. Come right on around. There we go. All right, come right on around here. All right, good job. All right, now, let's take a look at this. Okay, everybody look at me. All right? All right, and Council Crystal, I'd like for you to get in between each one of the, okay, now we're doing really good. Because you're kind of short, so come on up, Councilwoman. Come on up, gentlemen. All right, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going to try to get in a protocol. All right. All right, so now we're going to take a couple of photographs if you guys will allow us to do that. All right, and when I tell you to switch, I'm going to switch you around. How about that?
Well, 1 second, y'all need to back up.
Okay, now y'all back up. All right, the back row, take one step back. Okay, the middle row, take one step back. Very good. Now the front row, just take one step back. Now how do they look, folks? Do they look okay? Okay, you want to come on in just a little bit? Or you want to come over here? All right. Okay. Come right here. All right. Perfect. All right. How do they look, guys? Perfect. All right. Now we're going to do it on count 3. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile. All right. Very good. Now is there a secondary photo? Okay, with the officers, would you guys like to come in and take the photographs with All right, how we looking? Is this a good shot? Come in a little bit, let's make it tight. Okay. All right, we're gonna do, on the count of three. You guys in the front, just right hand over left. Everybody give me good posture. Let's look at the camera. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile.
Good job, guys.
All right, very good. As I said, keep it up.
Still burning up?
Yeah, they got to turn these lights off. And they're not the same lights they've been using.
No, man.
These are way brighter.
Right. Oh, this is a little chill, man.
I think it's something wrong with them locks because it shouldn't be both of them. Because mine was going down. That thing been tearing up the chairs and switching.
We went on public comment. Yeah. We did, public comments.
Dr. I, how you doing?
Bless, man. How about you?
Good, bless. Welcome to the council meeting. Mario, where are we on? Public comments?
Yes, sir, Mayor. We're on public comments at this time.
All right. Do you have any written communication?
No, there are no written communications, Mayor.
All right. I have 2 written cards. Ms. Hughes?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Ree Hughes, 3335 Northwest 180th Street, Miami Gardens, Florida, 33056. This is a follow-up request waiting for a follow-through of action from City Council members. At the previous City Council meeting, June 14th, I, Ree Hughes, on behalf of the Myrtle Grove community, informed Council there is a great need for the application for a public music broadcast permit to be amended to incorporate language for outdoor events in respect to the City of Miami Gardens residents. Why? Because when one calls for an officer to be dispatched at an outdoor event due to excessive and unreasonably loud music, they're informed a permit was issued for this event. And that's the end of that conversation. It's like saying, you've got to deal with it. And that's the problem. As I previously stated, this permit as is does not address, qualify, or stipulate any limitations or consequences to the applicant as to the expectations pertaining to excessive and unreasonably loud music, raucous, the use of profanity by individuals, as well as uncensored music heard throughout the community. The residents of this city are entitled to respect of person, peace, tranquility, and comfort in the place in which we call home. So again, I come to each of you on the dais requesting action is taken to amend the application for public music broadcast permit as it pertains to outdoor events for the reasons stated above. Yes, it's where we want to be, but with respect in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. Tanya Andre?
Hello, Mayor and councilmen and women. It is an honor to be here with you today, building awareness and resilience against human trafficking. There is a movie out place. I'm excited that the City of Miami Gardens is taking a proactive approach to. My name is Tanya. I'm the founder of the Mavuno Project. We have been in the Miami Gardens community since 2009, that as of yesterday, the Mabuno Project, an organization that started in your community of Miami Gardens, children are not for sale. Thank you.
Ms. Andre, when is this event and what time? For the record.
1418 Northwest 208th Street.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, there's a flyer that's been printed.
Miami Gardens, Florida, amending Chapter 16, Article 3, Section 16-57, entitled Maintenance of Property, Buildings, Structures, Walls, Fences.
To the mic.
Hello? Can you hear me? All right. This ordinance, so we want to continue to do that, and all this is saying is, let's do that, and held our business colleague wants to make some amendments, so we're going to have a discussion.
For bringing this item. As you know, it is a huge thing. I was teased initially when development that's coming in at 35 acres. And so cleanliness has to be a hallmark of that, the success of that in these shopping areas, so that vehicles that are turning off of the busy highway will know that they need to stop once they get lighting at all in the parking lot. 207 Street is one of them. You can't see. And so the light, because you just can't see. So the lighting, the pressure washing, and the appropriate traffic signs.
Your amendments that you want to add, but with this particular item, it's more focused on the cleanliness. Now, the pressure cleaning part component, I can agree with, but as far as the lighting and those other things, I think that should be another ordinance that, or
Are we
where we
repealing
can
one?
address it.
We're not going to be able to do that tonight. Mr.
Madam
Mayor?
Attorney, yes.
Can I be heard?
Go ahead, Madam
We can
Attorney.
work with you, Vice Mayor, on bringing back amendments to the property standards, because we don't even have the entire standards here. We only made that one amendment to allow, because one of the things we discussed at the last meeting was just having a way to contact these larger plazas. But my office can certainly work with you
So
to bring an, because it wouldn't be appropriate to put those amendments in this section right here. It would be in another section dealing with the property maintenance standards. She's only amending, adding this one little section, so that wouldn't be appropriate to go there, but somewhere else in that bigger ordinance, we could put it.
And you guys could work with her on that one.
Yes, if she wants to
All right.
bring, if it's not already in the bigger, I don't know off memory what's all in there, but it's.
So this is an ordinance that deals with, not, let's break this out, okay? What part of what I said can be included in this?
I couldn't hear part of what you said. I'm sorry.
What part of what I said can be included in this? If I
In K,
said,
in section K?
yes, if I said I wanted pressure wash, can that be included?
Not in this section. What I'm
Okay,
saying,
if I
it could
said
go
I
in
want
the
the
ordinance,
windows,
but
if I said I want lighting in the parking lot, can that be included?
not in this section that
So
she's
there's
amending.
nothing that I said can be included in this?
In section K of her ordinance? No, it wouldn't be
No, I don't know what
appropriately put
section
there.
K is, I'm just looking at what the item says.
Yeah,
right?
no, because what I'm saying is section 16-57, maintenance of property, we didn't put the whole thing in here. We only put the one part that she's adding as an amendment. So it wouldn't go in section K. I would need to amend another section of that entire section in order to put what you want in there.
Yeah, because I guess when I'm reading this, I'm trying to figure out how it don't fit. That's all I'm saying. is that
I'll print out the entire property maintenance standards for you because it's about 10 pages, so you can see what I mean. There are standards for properties that are not in section K that all she's adding here is posting of signage and information. But what you were doing can be done. What I'm saying is we need to amend another section of this ordinance to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I think I got it, I don't, no, I don't
You
think I got it.
just have to, she'll have
But
to
I,
know
yeah,
where to put it,
we'll
where
meet,
to put it.
I guess offline. Okay.
All right, any other questions or concerns?
I don't know how that.
Showing none, Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Leon?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDowell?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Julian?
Yes.
Councilman Stevens?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
Mayor Harris?
I vote yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, we're now on to item 8.2, an ordinance of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, amending to add Chapter 18, Article 3, Division 8, Section 18-249, entitled Smoking in the Parks is Prohibited, of the City of Miami Gardens Code of Ordinance, provided for adoption representation, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing a severability clause, provided for inclusion in the code, provided for an effective date, and this is sponsored by Councilwoman Linda Julie.
Councilwoman Julie?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. This item is pretty much self-explanatory. I'm very passionate about clean air. I do believe that when people go to the parks, they should not have to endure secondhand smoking. And when we go to parks to breathe in fresh air, to get oxygen. And so what this item is basically asking is that we can recuse smoking from our parks facilities. And in addition to that, this can be a part of our Live Healthy Miami Gardens initiative as we continue to grow towards a healthier community together. That's it.
I need a motion on this item.
Motion.
Second?
Been moved and seconded.
Question.
Okay.
I have a question.
It's open for discussion now. You were first. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
No, go ahead, let down.
Yep.
Okay, Councilwoman Julian, I agree with you with the clean air. I have a couple questions. In regards to enforcement of this, as we prepare for our football season that's get ready to start, and the item says upon passage immediately, as this resolution will pass, two parts. We have thousands of people on our parks during football season. The enforcement part, I'm not looking for a person to have an encounter with the police officer that can potentially get them a record for smoking. And also, when it comes to signage and things like that, to put this up, like the implementation of this, are you willing to delay the implementation so that we can do a community outreach portion so that the community knows that this is getting ready to go into effect? Because we're renting out our parks. We have Florida Memorial football here. We have our Optimus football that's getting ready to take place. They're already practicing now. So to just spring this on the residents right away, I think without education would be somewhat of unfair.
Well, Councilman Leon, thank you very much for your concern, and your thoughts and your concerns are valid. And education, yes, I'm willing to do the education component of it. But you talk about thousands of people utilizing our parks, and you're absolutely right. When I think about the young cheerleaders and the football players that are playing on that park that have to inhale the secondhand smoking, it's really not healthy. So yes, I am all in favor of educating our residents about this new ordinance. Should it pass, that would be taking place.
And what does the enforcement piece look like?
So the enforcement piece is basically a warning saying, well, we can put up a sign saying that this area is designated as a non-smoking zone. We can also look at all the other municipalities that have passed such an ordinance. And I actually have a list here of all the municipalities in the United States that is going towards a no smoking area. Miami Beach has done it, the city of Miami's done it, West Park has done it. So this is actually nothing new. So I'm willing to look at what the other cities have done in terms of enforcement. I can tell you that the city of Miami is charging fees for first, second, third offenses. We're not there, and I don't want us to go there. But a verbal warning, I think, is fair. And now we're not saying that, I mean, if they want to step outside and smoke, that's fine. But, you know, where the kids are running or where people are, you know, enjoying some quality time with their family, you know, I think that we got to meet folks halfway.
No, correct. I totally agree with you. But my point is to the fact that who's going to enforce this? Is it code enforcement? Is it the police officers? And now we have those kids' parents, where now they have this encounter, they can potentially get a record. So I just want to get a better understanding on the rollout. And
can you step aside and not smoke here because this is where people are recreating? I think a verbal warning is fair.
We take it in the city of Miami Gardens, but there is penalties.
So that's something that we can sit down and have a conversation about, how we enforce it. You want to know?
Policy decision as to how it gets enforced is what I'm saying, and that would be really the manager's purview. Are we going to criminalize the
You know, this is an area where it is a non-smoking zone, and should you want to smoke, you can step on the outside of the perimeters. I think that this is something that will help lead us there.
All right. And we talk about education, but to put the signs out.
We do.
So, and we don't have signs made up right now to put out to enforce it right away.
It's enforced with penalties. And if
Madam
you're saying we're
Attorney?
not going to have penalties, and you're just having a conversation, and then it's
Pass the ordinance, then we won't make the signs. So
that's not what I'm
not
saying.
clear.
Can we amend it? Can she amend her item so that there's no penalty, right?
There's no laws without penalties, so there has to be some.
So we need to determine what the penalty.
Manage a budget for the signage and get those signs placed in the parks.
That's fair.
Mr. Mayor?
I think the initial intent was for coastal communities who were having and experiencing problems with cigarette. And so as a result, they had a companion bill that came up that said that they would ban cigarette smoking. Cigars, that means you can smoke cigars, you can smoke Black and Milds, you know, you could do all of that, but you couldn't smoke. I didn't see it. I don't profess. Okay, well, they there. All right, but what happens when you have a license cigarette is being fined and or possibly asked to leave, right, or asked to move. So I think that in consideration of that, I think we probably have to think it through a little bit more in terms of how that implementation would occur for a couple of reasons. One is that we have a lot of adult activities on our parks, and they are evening and enjoyable entertainment kind of things. And so if they're on the parks at that time, we are dealing with enforcement again, right? And so the question is, what's the enforcement? What's the cost? What's the consequences, et cetera, et cetera? And our intention is to do it for health-related issues or protection, and not, you know, to cause it, like to criminalize it. That's not the goal. I get it. But I think we have to think through how we can achieve the health-related objective without consequentially causing someone to incur upwards of a $200 fine for having a cigarette on a park. You follow me?
Yeah. No, I follow you. I follow you wholeheartedly. And in addition to the health component of it, this item also keeps our city clean, right? And so, and in addition to that, it, in a sense, provides a process. You know, when I got a call about people smoking at the park and cigarettes being passed around to minors, you know, kids who are working at the park, I thought to myself, okay, so who is supervising? And while I get it that we can't have people out there supervising, et cetera, I thought that after doing some research and seeing that this is not something that is new, but it is something that a lot of municipalities are moving towards, why not try to eliminate smoking on the inside perimeters of the park? Now, your point about the cigars, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, that's how the law was written in Tallahassee, right? So it may be safe to say that the person who wrote the law may smoke cigars and left that part out, right? I mean, that's something that we cackle about. But, you know, to your thought, I was wondering the same thing. Well, why aren't cigars included in that? But it's not, and that's how it was. The law was written from the Capitol.
I get it, but it was actually written as an amendment to the law for coastal communities and their lifestyle. And I think that for us, we have to also be concerned about our residents and our lifestyle, and what is overall conducive for the way in which we operate as a community.
Sure.
And how we can ensure that the impact of an ordinance doesn't have an adverse effect, but it has a positive effect.
Sure.
And I think, as everyone is saying, notification, education, and all of that kind of stuff becomes important to how we move forward. Additionally, I think that we are also becoming an international city, which means that a lot of people use our parks to park their cars and move into Hard Rock Stadium. And very well may smoke out there. And so then we end up having another kind of issue with visitors in the city, just thinking that they're at a public park and now are being cited for something different. So I just want us to think it through well and be able to accommodate those kinds of what-ifs and scenarios so that it doesn't become something that's prohibitive, but something that is positive.
Sure. And listen, I totally understand what you're saying, but I just want to be clear. We are not banning smoking in the city at all. We're just saying that we want to eliminate smoking in our parks where our kids are cheering and where our football players are practicing. That, you know, when you have these kids who are having Pee-wee football and the Ravens and all these, what I'm saying is that they should not have to inhale secondhand smoking. And if we're out with our families, you know, for those of us who aren't smoking fanatics, you know, we want to be able to breathe the clean air of a park. Now, you go to Hard Rock Stadium or anything, you can smoke away. You can do what you want, but you know, we can only control what we have here in our city. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, what I meant by that is that a lot of visitors that come in, they use our parks as alternative parking. And so when they come on our grounds to park and to wait around and to get rides and shuttles from our parks into other venues, then suddenly they could be smoking. And then our officers are then, and outside officers are then charged with the obligation of enforcing that ordinance. And so sometimes we have concurrent events, you know, where we have a lot of things going on in the city. Some of them are city sponsored and some of them are not. But the ordinance is what it is, and so the issue is how do we accommodate that in such a way, and whether or not, how much of an issue is smoking on our parks? You know, are we taking up something that really is a factor and a prohibitive factor in our community? I don't have the answers to it, but those are the questions that come to my mind that I think should have some consideration.
So, Councilwoman, would you consider all of us really, I'm not against the item, but can we sit down and I guess discuss what the penalties will be as well as the signage and maybe bring the item back?
So before I answer that question, Mr. Mayor, I know that my two colleagues had a comment to say, Councilwoman Campbell and Councilman Stevens, so I'd like to hear what they have to say and then answer your question.
Councilwoman.
Mr. Mayor, a lot of things have already been said, but as I read the item, I realized it mentioned something about HB 105. I guess that's the new law or something. I'm not even familiar with it, I'm being honest. And it mentioned about unfiltered and filtered. I'm not a smoker. I don't know the difference. So I need clarity on if they're not banning unfiltered, or then what is an unfiltered smoking item? I don't know what that is, because if that bill is allowing it, so I'm just thinking, why should we ban it? What is an unfiltered? I don't know. Can someone answer that for me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So unfiltered versus filtered. So the unfiltered is what they would consider cigarettes, vaping, electronic cigarettes, hookah, and then filtered is what the legislature considers the cigar.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was my only question.
Council?
Yes. I'm not against the item. I think it's something that's necessary in a sense. But I just want to make sure to a few of my colleagues that has weighed in on this this item, that these things actually take place. One being the smoking as a whole from the property. It's just a portion.
Please feel free to chime in, but you can smoke on the outside perimeters of the park, so like the sidewalk area.
City property. However, we're saying that while you're on the inside of the park, you cannot smoke, but if you're on the outside, you can.
Yes.
You know, we are tailoring this ordinance to the concerns of our community. So outlining a timeline to educate the community of the new law.
I'm okay
Because the
with
way
that.
it's written, it speaks that once we pass it, that
We do comes education, right? So we're creating new ordinances, right? We want to educate whether it's the business owners, the residents on what's to take place.
In your item too, because Jim, it's not effective tonight anyway, it's effective on second reading. But what you can do is amend the item to put in this.
Revisit this, right? And we can, I guess, go through what everybody has spoken about today in terms of putting.
I'm following.
Okay.
Wait, Mr. Mayor?
I got, yeah.
Point of, just for clarification.
There would be other than the effective date, which you could do tonight. That's a simple amendment. When is the effective date of the ordinance? If
Well, my colleagues mentioned some other.
We want people to be told not to smoke. That would be a policy decision that you make, and I'm sure he would direct his officers, don't be arresting people. Education campaign, we want people told, if the officers are code, whoever's addressing them, that they be told that you're not allowed to smoke in the park. Be there, because that's required by law, but we don't take those cases and file them. We generally just.
Stop smoking.
And they break the law now.
I'm just asking a question. I'm just saying, prohibition is different, which says to me that we could have restricted areas that are parks that are designed. And I don't think that we've addressed the other issue, and that is if we have adult-related events that are entertainment of nature, they would no longer be able to do that.
Madam Attorney.
That's really just, is it for me to answer? Because I don't.
I mean, according to the law, ma'am,
I understand.
Yes,
I
it
think
is.
that what the vice mayor is saying, that she doesn't like the way the law is written. I can't.
No,
really-
I didn't say I didn't like it. I
Okay.
said when I read in here
Yeah.
that they used two words. They used prohibition.
Right.
And in the way it was written and interpreted in here, and I believe that's our law, it said restricted. So when I took a look at it, I said, are we saying that based on what we're going to do, we're going to restrict smoking on parks, which means that there will be some areas on our parks that very well may be restricted for smokers? I mean, I don't think that was
understand.
unclear to me.
No, I didn't. I wasn't clear, but I understand what you're
But
saying
I thought your
now.
office wrote it.
No. I didn't understand your question. I understood the ordinance because we did in fact
okay.
write it.
All right.
But I just want to be clear that we're not restricting areas in the park. What's in front of you today is banning smoking inside of the park. Period. It's not.
So when the word restricted is used, what does that mean?
It means you can't do it.
Oh, that's what restricted mean? Oh, I thought restricted meant it was put to restricted and prohibition. They're not synonymous, right?
Well, to me they are, but
Oh, okay. Because I didn't think they were.
All right,
And it's because of those unclear terms, I think that we need more time to be able to look at this because there are so many impacts on the community that if we were to start to shut this down now and even pass it, I think without having the readings and the amendments to look at, I'm not sure where we're headed with it. It does it remain the same?
Well, what I will say.
What's your pleasure?
So what I will say is this is going to come back in September when we come back after recess. And I think that between this time in September, we can sit down and flush through all of the concerns and everything that you guys have talked about, we can address in terms of penalty and everything else. So we're asking for time to flush through this thing so that we can properly put an ordinance in place. I'm for it. I totally agree with you. And then also a campaign to educate our stakeholders on this new ordinance that will take place. I'm all for it. I don't have an issue with that at all. I welcome it.
All right.
So that gives us about, 2 months, 2 or 3 months to come together? So what do we do, a workshop or something?
I got a question, Mr. Mayor.
Hold on. Go ahead.
To the Vice Mayor's point, she made me think of something. If we do have an adult event or something like this, this is a law now. So would there be, to the attorney, would there be any special amendments that we can do? Say there's a cigar event or something like that at the park?
It's not a law.
Oh, cigars not on
They're
there?
not prohibited.
Oh, they're not? Okay.
But, Mr. Mayor, can I answer, Vice Mayor, I just went back and read the
Yes,
language
go
of the
ahead.
statute. I just want to totally respond to the Vice Mayor. So the way it's written in front of you now, we're prohibiting it in parks, period. But the statute does allow you, if you all decide to amend it, to restrict areas within the park. But that's not how it's written right now. You understand what I'm saying?
But I didn't think that this was a law, right, that we had to adopt, that it was our option
Right.
to adopt this law. So although the state provided for us to exercise the option to ban it on our parks.
Right.
We can also exercise the option not to ban smoking.
Correct.
So what is before us really are two questions. Are we going to ban it or not? And two, the second question is, if we are going to evaluate the merits of banning it, then do we vote on this at first reading? Or do we decline and it goes back? I mean, how would that process work? Because it's actually two things that we have to do.
You got to say something?
No, so if we decline, then that is dead, correct? So if the councilwoman had a workshop with us, so what are some steps? Could she withdraw and have a workshop and then we can come up with the parameters, or what can we do?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Go ahead.
Councilwoman, are you against smoking in the parks totally?
Listen, I'm willing to amend the item to have a designated smoking area in the park. I just don't think that smoking should be allowed in the parks where everybody's out there to breathe in fresh air.
So the question to you, Councilman, she has options. She can either call it for a vote tonight, withdraw the item, totally rewrite it, bring it back, defer the item to another date. Those are the options.
So if she withdraw the item and brought it back, she would have time to meet with the body, I'm asking, could she do a workshop with us to get what we're looking for in the item and then bring the item back?
Yeah, she can get some consensus from
Okay.
you all at a workshop.
So is there a difference between, well, let me rephrase the question. Can we defer the item and not withdraw the item?
Yeah, that's your option. You can do a
Okay.
motion to defer, and then if it's approved, yes, you can do that.
Okay, so then what I'd like to do is defer the item so that we all can sit down collectively and flush through the parameters of what this ordinance is going to be. I think that that's fair to the entire body.
Do you
Is
want to
that your
defer to a
motion?
time?
Yes.
Well,
It's got to be time sensitive?
Well, it can,
yeah, it's deferring it.
Oh, so
Or
what's the
you can
timing on that?
withdraw it, and we can I think they will still meet with you and do that as a workshop.
If we defer it, what's the time frame on a
You have
deferment?
to tell us.
yeah.
Oh, so so if I defer the item, okay, so I can defer the item and come back, well, we're going into August now, so we can come back in September, because we have one more council meeting before we go to recess.
But you're on recess, so they need to have time to have the
Yeah,
workshop.
can
You're on
I-
recess in August.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
Because it looks like we don't have a consensus on a date when to bring it back. Maybe withdrawing the item, having the workshop, and at the conclusion of the workshop, we bring it at the next meeting?
Okay, I'm okay with that.
No.
No? Okay.
Excuse me, Ms. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Can we go ahead and let's just do it. Let's have a workshop, and then let's have a workshop between now and September and bring the ordinance back in September.
I thought that's what we said.
Okay.
That's what we said,
That's
right?
not what the clerk just
hold on.
proposed. The clerk proposed that we have set a time for a workshop, and then after we set a time for a workshop, then we'll come back and choose based off the time we set for a workshop when the item will come back.
And you're saying that we should move forward with this item, we should move forward with scheduling a workshop.
Let's schedule a workshop
Okay.
so that we can outline all of the issues that has been raised this evening, and then be prepared for the item to be for us when we return from recess in September.
Okay, I get that part. So now my question is it being deferred? Is it being withdrawn? Where are we at with that?
It's your pleasure, madam.
So I feel like we're essentially saying the same thing, because should we defer it, we defer it to a later date.
No, just withdraw it. Withdraw it, and then we'll do the workshop and come back and with a new.
If I can assist, Mr. Mayor, it
Yes.
may be, the clerk is suggesting that you withdraw it because he knows that when you workshop it, you may have amendments to it anyway, which means that it's gonna have to change, because we
Yeah.
can't change it on first reading. That's too much to do. You can't do an ordinance like that on first reading. So I think that's why he suggested withdrawing it, workshopping it, and then getting the information you hear from your colleagues and bringing an item that, you believe is appropriate.
Yeah,
Is everybody okay with that?
yeah, that way, once we,
Hey, Mr. Clerk,
I won't be here.
you won't be here? No.
I mean, there's no rush. What, you have a,
I got you. We're gonna schedule it on a Wednesday, either in July or in September. There are no resolutions in public hearing.
We're on consent agenda.
We're now on a consent agenda. Item 11.2, a resolution to account an amount not to exceed $2,000 in support of nationwide youth outreach and athletics unity in the community, a fight against gun violence, public affairs special events account, providing for adoption of reputation, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Councilman Reggie Leon. Item 11.5, a resolution of representation, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager. Item 11.6, a resolution of the City Council, City of Miami Gardens, Florida, authorizing the sixth renewal of
By saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Showing none, show the consent agenda pass.
Excuse me, Mr.
Go ahead, Mr.
I know I better
Manager.
hurry up. Just want to announce on Tuesday, July.
No report, Mayor.
Mr. Clerk,
No report.
Mr. Stevens.
Very briefly, I just want, and then the chief and Sergeant Genty and the entire community action team, that was just impeccable to see, and encouraging it by a way of awarding them scholarship dollars does my heart well, so thank you for that as well. That's right, Mr. Cole's birthday is on the 27th as well. On Saturday, July, grades K through 12th is welcome to come out and participate. This is a free event. Check-in begins at 9:30 a.m. 20 STEM activities, and leave with 5 major takeaways of projects that they'll be working on. On authors and all published and non-published writers will have their books on this and support, be a part, and spread the word. On Sunday, July 30th, I'll be partnering with Representative Felicia Robinson in the Advancing of Sickle Cell Advocacy Project to host the ASAP Day 1-year anniversary awareness celebration at Buccaneer Park, and this event would begin at 2 p.m. Last but certainly not least, the first information session will be held on Monday, July 17th. This information session is for the City University Partnership. So if you are interested in taking advantage of the programs far as taking classes at Miami-Dade College, Florida Memorial, St. Thomas University, out of our community centers, I encourage you to come and be a part of this information session. This would be Monday, July 17th, 6 p.m. at Betty T. Ferguson, and there will be a few more info sessions after Monday. That ends my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Iguodala.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just an event, I would like to commend Ms. Andre and Mr. Andre, an amazing power couple, a couple that I have seen really work and grow over the last 10-plus years, and I'm excited to partner with the Mavuno Project. And I want to commend you, Mrs. Andre, for making the fight against human trafficking your life's work. God bless you. I have no further comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Leon.
Thank you. July is not only the month of my birthday, Councilman Stevens' birthday, and Mr. Cole's birthday, but it's the month of Parks and Recreation. And I want to take this time out, and Mr. Mayor, if you're okay with us clapping, can Ms. Paulette, Ms. Jackie please stand? These ladies and their department.
No, that's not good enough. You guys don't just stand. Come forward, because you need to be seen.
And myself, we're going to do something
you
for
guys need
that
to be
entire
seen.
department.
Come on, Miss Paulette, Miss Jackie, come on. Y'all need to be seen.
Come on down. Come on down. Come on down.
You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
So these ladies and their department take these visions that we come up with, and some of them are far-fetched ideas that we have, and they help execute without any attitude, and they totally jump all the way in along with themselves and their department. And let's just give them a hand, a standing ovation for the work that they do for us in the city. And again, we will be recognizing your entire department this month. Thank you again.
That's it?
Yeah. That ends my report.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilwoman Julia?
Last Saturday, my office teamed up with the Community Partners mental health company, Gabby Cares of South Florida, and Optimal Health to host a family movie night at the Senior Family Center. Thank you to all of the families that came out to enjoy the festivities as we talked about mental health in our community. I'd like to also send a big thank you to our community partners, the Parks and Recreation staff, as per usual, making things happen. Thank you very much. Randy, my legislative analyst, and the Miami Gardens Police Department for helping in the success of our movie night. And then it is that time for our quarterly cleanup, guys. On July 29th, I'll be hosting my quarterly cleanup at Vista Verde Park, beginning at 8 a.m. Bringing government to the people is the theme that I am promoting. This will be a time of service and a time to meet those that serve you. Oftentimes, constituents do not know who represent them on various levels of government. I've teamed up with our beloved Chairman Oliver Gilbert III of the Miami-Dade County Board of Commissioners and Miami-Dade County Judge Marcus Bach Armas. I think it's time we bring him back home to Miami Gardens. This is an effort to bridge the gap while taking pride in our community and keeping our environment clean. It is my hope that you will join me in helping to keep Miami Gardens beautiful and green. Parents, bring your children. And on July 22nd, we will be partnering up with Tanya Andre from the Mavuno Project, who is a fierce leader as it relates to human trafficking. And I'm happy to have been able to witness the work that you're doing, and your hard work does not go unnoticed. It's being recognized locally, globally, and internationally. So I'm very happy to be a part of what you've created. And I'm just going to be in the background cheering you on and providing you any kind of support that you may need. And that ends my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Campbell?
Mr. Mayor, first of all, I want to thank all of you that said prayers for my dad, because I was out last council meeting because he had a fall, but he's doing very well. My dad is a soldier, so I thank all of you for your prayers, and I want to thank Lady Shannon Igadora he told me to thank you personally for your token of your love and appreciation to him. He did receive it, and he do thank you for that and thinking of him. I also want to thank the council for your support of the ordinance that came before you today as it relates to keeping our community clean. I thank each and every one of you. The next thing I want to bring to your attention was cooking with love. It exceeded my expectation. I didn't know what to expect, to tell you the truth. This was my first time ever doing this, but the residents absolutely loved it. I want to thank the city clerk, the city manager, the deputy clerk, LaShara Boswick, Kevin from the mayor's office. I want to thank the school crossing guards. I wasn't ready for that, but they did a phenomenal job, and thank you. You guys made it do what it do. I want to thank Miami Gardens Police Department. I definitely got to thank the senior center staff. They went above and beyond, and they did an excellent job because it was my first time working with them, and they nailed it. They nailed it. And then I also want to thank those that made it happen, which was the Honorable Lisa C. Davis, and it was also none other than the South Beach Food, Wine, and Festival, and Duke and Dane, Moonflower, Donata Skincare, Honeydew, T-Shirt Trends, who made the custom dish towels and mugs, and also my favorite team, the Positive Forward Progress crew. They did that. And I want to just say that without them, I couldn't have done it, and we're going to continue the good work in this community, as long as it's something that's positive. Now, I want to make a mental note and a mention to you today, to the explorers that I saw come in here today. I was glad to see that, because I can remember my son, he was in the first class of Miami Gardens Police Explorers, and it was is Chief Narciso, those young people, because it really helped me raise my son. So I want to tip my hat off for something that I came across as it relates to agenda items that we put together. It's for the city's attorney's review. There will be no additions of council member sponsored items placed on the city council public health, safety, and welfare of the community, such as widespread civil disorder, disaster. As we sit up here, we pass ordinances, as you saw today. We pass by the leadership prior to this leadership, in addition to us as the leaders now. Report, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome. Vice Mayor?
Frazier Park beginning at 6 p.m. I look forward to seeing the residents at that time. I would like to recognize Parks and Recreation also. Coming out of Juneteenth, you guys were just the stellar for everything that you've done and everything that I failed to recognize. So thank you so much.
I'm at Betty T. Ferguson, so you could bring all your kids over there tomorrow. They have an opportunity to participate in